everyone. I am Platinum Jewel, and you are tuned in again to Hey You, It's Me. Today, I am so excited. I have a special guest. Let's see if they are on screen. Hello.
Hey, Jewel, how you doing?
I am okay. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. Good, good, good. I'm so happy to see you. I'm happy you're here. I'm gonna try not to laugh because we're so buddy, we always joke around. But
Thank you
today
for
is one
having
of
me.
those days that I want to try to be serious. I don't know if that's gonna happen.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if that's gonna Why don't you take a moment to introduce yourself and tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name is Patrick Plummer. I am a retired warrant officer in the from the Army military. I am been in Atlanta now for roughly about 18 years.
Okay.
I just recently wrote a book, sending a memoir about my life, and then I also have another book coming out in a couple of months.
2 books back to back.
Yes.
Overachiever. What made you want to write a book?
Well, over the years, you experience a lot of things. As you know, my grandson passed. I had spent a lot of time in Iraq, had to deal with almost shooting a kid in Iraq, was bombed. So a lot of that stuff stays with you. And as you know, if you don't find some type of platform to get that out, it could really, for lack of a better word, can really kill you. So this was my way to kind of explain my story, give homage to my wife, because she was a true backbone throughout, my whole career, whole life, to be honest, because we've been a couple of months, in a couple of weeks now, we'll be together for 34 years. So it's
34
mainly,
She's dealt with you for 34 years.
yeah, yeah, I
I
can't
need to
believe
go
it either.
and get her flowers. Wow.
Oh, oh,
That's a
yeah.
long time. Congratulations. That's
Oh, thank you.
exciting too.
Thank you. Yeah.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah.
That's 34 years and forever to go, huh?
Yes, yes. She always tell me it's a day by day situation.
And you know what? There's nothing wrong with saying that, but those days, she's been through a lot of days with you, I'll put it that way. So, as far as the book, if someone were to go and get it, tell me what you're describing in your book. So you told me why you wrote it, but what's going on in your book? What's the title?
So, and I actually have a copy of it right here. It's called Home for Good, and it's
Okay.
basically a journey of service, love, and faith. And it kind of goes in. It talks about my Jamaican American growing up, and when I finally got to go off on my own, then meeting my wife Tasca, going through the kids, because we had our kids back to back. There, that rock of mine, she stood the time, even when I had to go to places I couldn't even tell her I was going, but she stood it. So that was part of the storytelling.
That's awesome. And so, as far as I want to put the book on pause
Mhm.
because while you have this one book that you have, and it's called Home for Good, correct?
You're right.
Okay. Then you have another book that's coming out in a couple months. And what is that called?
That's called Unblurred Image.
Unblurred Image.
Right.
Okay. I want to get back to that because that is there's a little story behind that. I definitely want to touch on. It's a beautiful, beautiful title. And even I think I've seen your cover art. I think even that was just stood out to me if that's
Right.
gonna what you're gonna use. You are on this platform today for a specific reason. Besides hunting me down and no, but besides finding this, number 1, I wanna say thank you for even allowing me to just interview you briefly, but also you have a letter that you brought with you
Right.
today. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Alright. And you're gonna read that letter, and you wrote this letter specifically for our podcast.
Correct. That is correct.
I'm touched. Seriously. You knew you had to do something. You knew exactly
Right.
what to do for You understood the assignment. So,
Right.
why don't we go ahead and get right into your letter because I read the letter and I was deeply touched and I can resonate a lot. So, I want to go ahead and allow you to read your letter. I'm going to turn my camera off and give you your space, and then I'll be back as soon as you're done.
A letter to my younger self. Say, hey, little man, I know how hard it was growing up. The house was full of love, but it was also full of pressure. Big expectations, big standards, not much room to mess up. Being the first generation here, you felt like you had to succeed, not just for yourself, but for everyone. Like you carried the family's future on your back. That was heavy for a kid. You were supposed to play, to learn, to grow, not to feel like failure wasn't allowed. And I'm sorry you had to be strong so early, but I want you to hear something you never heard enough back then. You don't have to earn love, not with grades, not with success, not with being perfect, not taking care of anyone else. You're loved even when you're not achieving, even when you're tired, even when you messed up, even when you don't have it all to figure out. You were always enough, just being you. And look, we made it. We have a beautiful family now, a home filled with peace, real love, safe love, the kind of love you don't have to perform for. You helped build that. So now you can rest. You don't have to prove anything anymore. You don't have to even carry everything anymore. I got you always, me.
I always love to clap. It says a lot anytime a gentleman comes on the show. It's very endearing to me because I do understand sometimes the men that I know, they're tough skin, joke around a lot, but you don't always see that side that shows their vulnerability. What age are you talking to?
Now, I'll probably say about 13.
Okay.
And I'll tell you
13
the
to
reason why I say that too is because one of the things I talk about that you don't have to feel love because of grades or anything like that. I can remember distinctly my mama telling me that if I brought a C in the house, she would throw me in the trash can. And as a kid, you believe what your mama say. She may not have meant it, but I believed it. And so those are the kind of things that kind of resonate with you.
And what is your nationality? What's your culture?
Um, I'm from Jamaican background. I was the only one out of all my siblings born in America. Everything in my house was Jamaican. Spoke Jamaican, ate Jamaican, so everything was Jamaican.
And do you think that that may have had any type of bearing on the way that you were raised? There are certain cultures that are very distinct with specific things, such as grades, what you can and can't do, how strict they are. Do you think that played a big part?
Most definitely. I mean, simple things from the way we talk. You can go up to certain people, you had to say certain things, even to the point where you were not allowed to be in certain rooms when adults was in there, and that was a true cultural thing.
No, that's just your culture. That's totally my culture too.
And so I always joke and I would say, I was living two different worlds. In the house, I was Jamaican. When I go to school and around my friends, I had to be American. And that was a difficult task, so to say.
That makes a lot of sense. So it almost was like you were living a double life
Exactly.
to a degree.
To a degree.
So how did that when you finally got to a certain age, so now let's say you're past 13 and you go into the is it the you go into the military.
Went into the army.
Okay? So you went into the army and how old were you then?
I'll say 18 and a half. So, because I did a year of college and then joined the military.
And do you think that how did that whole military life play out for you? Because you and your wife have been together for so long. I'll be kind and say you don't look a day over 30, but I know I'm pushing it. So how did that have an effect on you? So you have this little boy you're writing to. Now this little boy goes into the military, the army, and you stay there for how many years?
21.
21 years. And then you are at this point where you're out and you write this book, Home for Good. So there's a
Right.
reason that that book is titled Home for Good.
Yes.
Why did you pick that title?
So basically, And the book actually goes through the journey showing my Jamaican American growing up, going into the military. And, growing up, a lot of men, and especially in our culture, don't tell you they love you. You basically, I give you stuff, or I'm there to protect you. That's how I show you I love you.
Yeah.
So I went to Germany, and distinctly I can remember the day. And it's funny, I can even see where I was at. The day my dad said he loved me, and it blew my mind. And
Really?
so that's one of the things that's in the book as well. But going in the military and having that Jamaican background, it was actually kind of easy because there was always structure. You always still had to say yes, ma'am, no matter who you talked to. So that part of it wasn't a problem. Now, being away, because my first duty station was actually Germany. So it's not like you can drive back home, like you go off to college and you come home for different holidays or anything like that. It wasn't like that. You was thousands of miles away. It
Patient.
was, yeah. So it was an experience that taught me how to kind of depend on myself, so to say. And I contribute that to a lot to my parents because the way they raised me, it kind of helped me to say, okay, you can do this because of the for lack of a better word, the strictness that they kind of put on me. So it kind of made it a little bit easy. So
Right. Do you feel that writing this particular book, Home for Good, do you feel like it took a weight off of you?
for sure, for sure. When you go through life, I always say there are phases because even when I deal with my kids, I say when you was younger, I told you what to do. As you got older, I guide you. When you was like in high school, I guide you, but I still told you what to do. But as you become adults yourself, I can still guide you, but I'm not going to tell you what to do. You have to make those decisions. So those are just phases of just dealing with your kid. In your life alone, you also deal with different phases. So having to experience and look back at the different phases of life different phases in my life that I experienced, it showed me that I was carrying a lot of baggage. And so writing this book helped me to kind of relieve that baggage. Some of the things that I never told my wife that I probably should have, as far as how much I appreciate what she did. You kind of take those things for granted, being able to put this down on pen and actually give her the homage that she deserved, it made me feel good at the same time too, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And I'm sure it did make her feel good as well. That's the letter that you wrote to your 13-year-old inner child. Once you wrote the letter, how did you feel when you read it? You really put that pen to paper. How did you feel?
And,
Did
you
you
know,
actually think you were going to do it? Were you
well,
surprised?
I was surprised, to be honest, and I was like, but I'll be honest with you, having wrote the book made the letter easier to write, because it kind of reflected back to it, but then it really got to the core of a lot of the things that I did, and it brings like, okay, this is the reason why I did what I did because of how this was back then. So, those are the kind of things that kind of help you and being able to write, which I really appreciate the fact that I begged you to come on so I can write this letter. I appreciate that letter because it really helps you tap into yourself. Whether people realize it or not, there's a lot of people that are hurting, but they don't know why they're hurting. And then when they write back to themselves, they can kind of see, oh, wait a minute, this may have caused why am I feeling what I'm feeling now? So I really appreciated that. And writing that and being able to put to paper was um, a true relief in itself as well.
And you know what? Thank you for sharing that because this really is the whole reason why I have this platform. This platform, it was a challenge that was given to me almost 20 years ago, that I was supposed to write from a therapist. They said, write to your younger self. You have a lot of healing you need to do. And I said, yeah, I'm going to do that. And I never did it. And I can tell it definitely has affected me even now with what I'm going through, just coming out of the hospital. And I'm just like, you know what? I have to write to this inner child. And I believe my letter is going to, well, I know my letter is going to be on the last episode, but I believe my letter, it's still in the works. So hearing your letter, hearing some of my other guest letter, all of you guys are helping me along the way to write my letter.
Right.
And it's important. It really is important for people to understand you need to have an outlet. You have to have some type of outlet. If you don't go to therapy, and I don't know if you've ever been to therapy before, but if you don't go to therapy, writing, they say writing a journal is just as good as going to therapy. And so I, number one, definitely want to thank you for being on my show today, begging me and me allowing myself to have you on my own. I do have one last question. Nope, 2 questions. I have one
Uh-huh.
question though that's, really important to me to ask you. If someone listening feels like they're still carrying their family's future on their back, what would you tell them?
I would say to them, really realize that they don't have to do that. When you realize the person that you are, always, because when we put this weight on ourselves that we have to be this type of person, we never really get to know our true selves. So when you sit there and say to yourself, I am not going to carry this weight. I want to be my true self. Then that will allow you to be the real person that you can be and was meant to be. So I would charge them not to feel bad because you don't have to carry that burden. If I had a chance to say that, that's what I would really try to relate.
And you heard it right here on Hey You, It's Me, Patrick Plummer. That right there, that statement, that speaks volumes. People are really holding their whole family on their back, extended family too, and that's causing them to break down. So that's great advice that you gave. One last thing, I did some research and I saw you didn't tell me your book actually has a soundtrack.
Yes. So so
Me about that. I was looking up I wanted to listen to it, and I was like, "These are songs." Tell me about that. It was exciting. I have one favorite song, I'm not gonna say, but it was exciting listening to it. I was like, "Okay, learn something new every day." Tell me a little bit about that. Why did
so
you do it?
it actually started out writing the songs, which kinda led to the book, because the songs, and every song has a trooper. Like one is dedicated to my son because
Okay.
once I retired, he was like, "Hey, Dad, you realize you was at every single one of my games?" And so that just showed me how valuable it was for me to be home. One is dedicated to my daughter because she went through so much and has shown how proud I am of her. And then, of course, the Home for Good is dedicated straight to Tasker herself because she did so much, making sure the kids, everything they had. And to be able to tell her that I'm home for good was the icing on the cake, so to say. And then even
That must have been.
I'm sorry.
No,
So
I was saying that must have been.
oh yeah, yes, and even the new book that I have coming out, every single chapter has a song dedicated to that chapter.
That's unique. We might see some other people stepping
Yeah,
up and doing the same thing. We know, at least here on this platform, we know who did it first.
yeah.
So, Patrick Plummer, I definitely wanna thank you. Thank you so
Oh,
much
me
for
too.
taking the time out, being here, being vulnerable. We appreciate you. Your 2 books. So your 1 book that's out, tell us both of the names again, please.
The book that's out now is Home for Good, and you can get it on Amazon or you can get it on my personal website, which is just patricklplummer.us. And then the next book that's coming out is The Unblurred Image. And that's just telling us how we were originally designed from love, but that images became blurred. Some people put up different walls, but how do we get back to that original design? So it kind of takes us through a journey. It gives us some pause and reflection questions. at the end of each chapter, and then, like I said, every chapter has a song dedicated to that chapter.
Wow, that's a lot. You put in some good work. I'm looking forward to it. If I can get past page 2, besides, like, what I do any book, I'm good. But again, thank you so much for your time. We really
Thank
appreciate
you for
it.
having me. I appreciate it so much.
You take care.